Okay, so picture this. You're like 3 weeks into the zombie apocalypse, you've got your canned beans and your baseball bat, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself because you watched The Walking Dead and you know what to do. Right? Wrong. Because I've been thinking about this way too much lately. I'm realizing I may have a problem, and there's like a bunch of stuff that literally nobody talks about that would absolutely ruin you. So I'm going to walk you through some things that would genuinely mess you up in a zombie scenario that you probably haven't thought about. And before you're like, why are you thinking about this? I mean, I don't have a good answer for that. My brain just goes places sometimes. First off, glasses. Glasses. If you wear glasses or contacts, you're basically screwed and nobody talks about this. Like, I wear contacts and the thought of running out of them in an apocalypse genuinely keeps me up at night sometimes, which is probably concerning, but whatever. You've got maybe a year's supply if you're lucky, then what? You're just stumbling around half-blind hoping that blurry shape isn't a zombie. And don't even get me started on people who need reading glasses, because good luck reading those medicine labels or maps when everything's just blurry text. I guess you could raid an optometrist's office, but like, do you even know your prescription? I barely know mine, and I get new contacts every year. Also, speaking of medical stuff, dental hygiene. I know this sounds boring, but hear me out. You know how much a toothache sucks? Now imagine having one with zero access to a dentist. Tooth infections can literally kill you. Like, they can spread to your brain and that's it, game over. And in the apocalypse, you're probably eating whatever random canned food you find. Probably not brushing consistently because you're busy not dying. And boom, 6 months in, you've got a cavity that's turning into an abscess. Medieval people died from tooth infections all the time. You're basically living in medieval conditions now. But sure, everyone's worried about zombies when really it's your molars plotting your demise. And okay, this one's gonna sound weird, but boredom. Like, genuinely, boredom would break people. Everyone imagines the apocalypse as this constant action movie where you're always fighting or running or scavenging, but realistically, you're gonna spend like 90% of your time sitting in whatever shelter you found just waiting. No internet, no Netflix, no phone, no books unless you happen to be holed up in a library. Just you and your thoughts and maybe some other survivors you're probably already sick of. I can't go like 3 hours without checking my phone and you expect me to go years? I'd lose my mind. People don't realize how much of our mental health is propped up by constant distraction and entertainment. Take that away, and you're just alone with every anxious thought you've ever had. Fun times. Oh, and while we're on mental health, PTSD. Everyone's out here planning their zombie survival strategy like they're gonna be some badass action hero, but like, you're probably gonna have to kill zombies that used to be people you knew. Your neighbor, your coworker, maybe even family. And unlike in video games, that's gonna mess you up permanently. You think you're just gonna brain your zombified friend with a crowbar and be like, well, that happened, time for lunch? No, you're gonna be traumatized. You're gonna have nightmares, you're gonna flinch at every sound. And there's no therapists anymore, no medication, no support groups. Just you and your unprocessed trauma trying to survive another day. Honestly, the zombies might be the least of your psychological problems. Here's another one nobody thinks about: seasons. Like, everyone plans for the zombie apocalypse as if it's always pleasant spring weather, but what about winter? Hope you're not in Canada or anywhere that gets actual cold, because heating a building without electricity or gas is hard. You need firewood, which means going outside to get it, which means zombie risk. You need proper shelter that actually retains heat. You need winter clothes that don't wear out, and if you're in a place with real winter, you've got like 8 hours of daylight max, so you're spending most of your time in the dark and cold, probably running low on food because nothing grows in winter, hoping your shelter doesn't collapse from snow. Or, flip side, you're in somewhere hot like Arizona and you're dealing with 110-degree heat with no AC, and you need like a gallon of water per day per person just to not die of dehydration. Geography matters way more than anyone admits. And speaking of water, water. Everyone's like, oh, I'll just boil water, but with what fuel? You can't exactly turn on the stove. You need a fire, which needs wood or fuel, which you need to constantly acquire. And boiling water takes time and fuel, and you need to do it for literally every drop you drink unless you want dysentery, which, spoiler alert, will absolutely kill you. Oregon Trail taught me that. You need like 2 liters a day minimum, more if you're doing physical activity or it's hot. That's a lot of boiling. And you need containers to store it in, and you need to protect your water source from contamination. It's a whole thing that would consume hours of every single day. Oh, and here's a fun one I thought about recently. Antibiotics. You know what's going to kill you in the apocalypse? Probably not zombies. Probably a random infection from a cut you got while climbing through a broken window. We take for granted that we can just get antibiotics for infections, but those expire, they're hard to find. And if you don't know exactly which antibiotic treats which infection, you could take the wrong one and die anyway. Also, bacteria are going to become resistant because people are definitely going to misuse antibiotics. So, cool, now you've got super bacteria in the apocalypse. As if regular bacteria wasn't bad enough. And social dynamics. Like everyone imagines they'd team up with other survivors and form this great community. But realistically, people are terrible. And you're going to have conflict constantly. Someone's going to want to be in charge. Someone's going to hoard resources. Someone's going to make a stupid decision that gets people killed. And there's no police or legal system to handle any of it. It's just interpersonal drama, but with life or death stakes. And you can't exactly leave if you don't like your group, because being alone is even more dangerous. So you're stuck with people you probably hate, trying to cooperate on survival with zero conflict resolution resources. Sounds absolutely miserable, honestly. So basically what I'm saying is the zombie apocalypse would be way less cool survival adventure and way more slowly dying of tooth infection while suffering from PTSD and boredom in the cold with dirty water and people you hate, which is significantly less exciting than TV makes it look. Anyway, that's all from me. Sorry to ruin your zombie apocalypse fantasies, but somebody had to say it. Thanks for watching. Bye!